ahead and get started. My name is Meredith Carter. I had my video on for a little bit, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't buffering. I serve as the Extension Program Specialist for District 11 4-H. And so I have an amazing team of agents working with me on this. And so I want to highlight them. And so we have today, I'll be presenting some information on personality traits. Laura and Allie will be talking about officer roles. Kaylin and Emily will be talking about learning styles and teaching styles. And then Candace and Paige will be talking to us about team building today. And so throughout today, each presentation and even in the breaks, there might be some door prizes. And so make sure you're really participating. And those door prizes will definitely be going out. And then tomorrow, at the end of tomorrow, we will do one large drawing for AirPods, excuse me. And so make sure you're on, okay? So today we're going to kick it off with personality types. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about personality traits, personality types, and how it all plays into being a really strong leader. And so there's one really good tool that we use in leadership. It's called the Myers-Briggs Personality Types Profile. But it was founded by two Americans, a mother-daughter duo, Catherine Cook Briggs and Isabel Briggs Myers. And what they found was that there are really four types four personality type categories that really kind of makes people or that people fall into. And so it really comes up with 16 different combination types. And so these things are like, are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? Are you more sensing or do you have more intuition? Are you more of a thinker or do you lead with your feelings? And then do you go based on perception or are you a cold hard facts kind of individual? And so all of these personality types play into who you what makes up your personality type, what makes up your leadership type, how you learn, and how you teach. And so all of this plays into everything that we're going to be talking about for the next 2 days. And so what's really cool is when we talk about these kinds of things, we really have to kind of take a good, hard, honest look at who you are. And I think that that's the coolest thing about all of this is because we don't, oftentimes, I don't know that we take a lot of time for self-reflection. And so once you take that time for self-reflection, it makes a whole lot of sense. And so we're going to start by talking a little bit about that. But before we get started, here's what I want you to do. I want you to type your first and last name in the text chat. And then I want you to tell me what your favorite personality trait is about yourself. Can you tell me what your favorite personality trait is about yourself?
I still don't have a chat box.
Dylan, can you just tell me?
Probably my work ethic. My work ethic.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your favorite, Jess, I see that you appreciate that you're caring. Abby, you're organized. Yes. So I think for me, personally, I really like the fact that I'm really empathetic. I like to feel and feel like I like to get to know people on a relational level before we make any decisions. Awesome. Thank y'all. Okay, so we're going to keep going. So when I talked about the four personality types, we're going to kind of walk through those. And so the first question you have to ask yourself is, are you outwardly or inwardly focused? And so are you, if you can describe yourself as talkative and outgoing, if you like a fast-paced environment, if you like to talk your ideas out loud with each other, and you enjoy being the center of attention, right? You lean towards being an extroverted individual. If you can describe yourself as being reserved or private, maybe you prefer a slower pace with time for contemplation, or you think things through inside your head before making a decision, and you'd rather observe than being the center of attention, then you would describe yourself as an introvert. You'd be more introverted. So when we talk about the second question we have to ask ourselves is, how do you prefer to take information? If you can focus on the reality of how things are, and you can pay attention to concrete facts and details, and you prefer ideas that have very practical applications. And so what that means is, do you prefer things that have things that you can use, instead of things that you have to think about, and that are more abstract? And if you like to describe things in a very specific, literal way, then you are more sensing in nature. If you can see the big picture and imagine all the possibilities, and you enjoy concepts and ideas, and you like to describe things in a figurative, poetic way, then you are more intuitive in nature. So how do you prefer to make decisions? Personally, I'm kind of right in the middle when it comes to this one. I like to make decisions based on feelings, but I also like to know that I'm thinking things through, and using logical reasoning, and I have I value fairness, right? And so if you like to make decisions based on facts, and you use logical reasoning, if you value justice and fairness, and you like finding flaws in an argument, I thought for a long time I was going to be a lawyer, because I like to find the flaws in everything. And if you can be described as reasonable and level-headed, then you are more thinking in nature. If you base your decisions on personal values and how your actions affect others, then you value harmony and forgiveness, and you like to please others and point out the best in people, and you can be described as warm and empathetic, then you are more feeling in nature. So how do you live your outer life? And this is the last question you'll ask yourself. Do you prefer to have a black and white situation? Do you think rules and deadlines are hard and fast, and so and you want step-by-step instructions? Or do you like to leave your options open? Are you more flexible and not really a planner? Then these are things that you would either determine that you were more judging in nature or perceiving in nature. So when we look at all of this, the best way to explain it is there are 16 different squares there. And so you would find the combination that you best suits you. And so a lot of employers now actually use the Myers-Briggs personality type profile to think about how you are going to fit into their team. So if you are going to be a scientist, right, then you probably lean more to the bottom right-hand corner. But if you maybe are a writer, or you are, or even, you know, I even think teachers have to be more empathetic in how they feel, then you might be more in that top left-hand corner. And so there is an actual, you can go in there and find a Myers-Briggs personality quiz. This one is one that I found for free. And so you can take this quiz and it will tell you what your personality type is. So does everybody have a better understanding of personality types and maybe how they play into who you are and your thought concepts? Okay, so that's what we have when we talk about personality profiles and personality types. And so there's different things that you can do that. How many of you have taken a personality quiz on Facebook? Maybe, right? They have all of those out right now, but those are all really important. And so I'm ready to turn it over to Kaylin and Emily. Kaylin Capps is our County Extension Agent for 4-H Youth Development in Austin County. Miss Emily DeForest is the County Extension Agent for 4-H Youth Development in Calhoun County. And so today they're going to talk to you a little bit about learning styles and teaching styles and how they play into who you are as a leader. So before we get started though, let's talk about what does learning styles mean? What do you think learning styles is? And what about teaching styles? And how does that play into who you are as a leader? Why is that important to who you are as a leader? So y'all are saying the way people teach and learn, but James, I think you hit the nail on the head. Absolutely. Jack, I think you're right? So you can teach people or lead people who learn in different ways. And so today, Kaylin and Emily are I'm going to turn it over to them. Kaylin and Emily, if you will hit that take control button, you can have control of the presentation.
Meredith, I'm on my phone. I didn't see a take control button, so I will let Emily do it if she can see that.
So I'm not seeing a take control either.
Okay, so
it says request control.
Yeah, request control.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, request.
Got it.
Mom, I don't see your request control.
Okay, Emily, you're gonna be in control then for the slides, okay?
All right, sounds good.
All right, guys, so we're gonna start off today. You can go ahead and go to the next one, Emily. We're gonna start off today and go over some learning styles first before we go over teaching styles. And y'all are exactly right. I feel like we don't even need to go over this. Y'all are so intelligent. Your learning style can absolutely affect your teaching ability as an instructor, and then also your learning ability as the learner. So the first one that we're going to cover is visual. So you like that picture of that cow right there, her beautiful eyes. That's exactly what it sounds like. Visual learners, it sounds exactly as is. They enjoy looking at pictures and images, maybe some maps or graphic organizers to better process info. So when you are a visual learner, you want to see what you're learning. A handout might help you. Looking at what you're actually processing is going to help you better understand. You can go to the next one, Emily. So how can we as instructors or teachers, or even as leaders, how can we help those that we are leading or teaching that are visual learners? We can give them handouts. We can allow them to study graphs or charts if it's something that we can chart or graph. We can, for example, has anybody here ever seen the picture of the steer with the cuts of meat on it? Yes, I'm sure you'll have. So that is going to help a visual learner just by looking at a chart like that. And they just work best to see an actual visual representation of what they're trying to understand. Okay, Emily. So a real life example. So all of our examples today on our learning styles are about building a bike. So if you're a visual learner and you're going to build a bike, it's going to help best if an instructor can include a diagram of the bike already put together. So you can look at the picture of the bike, you can get the parts out yourself, and you can put it together just like you see in the diagram. So things like that work best for a visual learner. Why don't y'all take some time to type in the chat some different examples of visual learning that y'all have experienced or would like to experience? Absolutely. I see one. It says watching the video on how to put a bike together. Legos. Yeah, people can see Legos, how to put them together. Let's see. And textbooks. Yes, that's a good one. Have any of y'all seen textbooks and there's pictures and diagrams? So you don't have to actually read all the words. You can see the picture of what's happening. Yes, videos, Legos, a baking recipe. So you can actually look at, have y'all seen the pictures that are incorporated into a recipe? Instead of having to read all the words, you can actually look at the picture of the bowl. You can look at the picture of the flour. You can look at the picture of the eggs going in and the measurements on that. Absolutely. These are great ideas. Okay, Emily, if you want to go to the next one.
All righty. So the next learning style is auditory learning. Auditory learners work best or learn best when subject matter is reinforced by sound. Just as we're talking to you right now about what all of these different learning styles mean, auditory learners learn best that way. Through group discussions, music. Has anybody heard any kind of song or made up a song to memorize some kind of something for school? Or for livestock judging? I know several people in the chat box say that they do livestock judging. Maybe read out loud if you're, having to read a textbook, learn something new by reading it out loud. An auditory learner can learn best that way. And then repetition too can also be a good way for auditory learners to learn. Aubrey, that's awesome that you made up a song to memorize the states. That's pretty cool. All right. See if I can get this to go next. So how to help an auditory learner. Auditory learners need to be involved during the teaching process, and may find it difficult to keep quiet for long periods of time. So you want to really be able to ask questions to auditory learners and allow them to answer. That way they can hear it out loud and not just have to see it on a screen or in a textbook or something like that. Invite students to engage in group discussions too. I'm sure in school you've had to do a group discussion. I know some people in the chat box say, watch videos, use music. Audio tapes. Those are all good examples of how to teach auditory learners. So here's our real life example. building a bike. So auditory learners would find success if an instructor read through important instructions on how to put the bike together. And then we're asked to have group discussions on how they would like to work through the process step by step.
Hello.
So let's take a little bit of time again to type some more examples in the chat box of different auditory learning styles. Audiobooks, okay. Listen to a video on instructions. Music videos on a subject. Songs to help memorize. Podcast. I love listening to podcasts. They are amazing. Make up songs for different subjects. All really great examples of how auditory learners can learn. All right, Kaylin, you ready for the next one?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
All right. See if I can get this to work. Yeah. I'm not sure why it's not moving over.
I just see Meredith's picture.
Uh-oh.
There you
Okay.
go. I see
Okay,
it.
there we go. All right, let's see. There you go.
This is my favorite cow, I think. Really cool glasses. Okay, so now we're going to talk about learners who prefer to read and write in order to learn. So reading and writing learners are really similar in some aspects to visual learners, but it's more common to see these learners kind of pick up a pen and take notes for a better understanding. They also like to look up information themselves. So they're avid readers. They can translate those abstract concepts into words and essays. So those short answer kind of things, if they can write out as you're talking, if they can write out what you're saying, they're going to have better success memorizing what they're needing to learn. You can go ahead, Emily. And so how can we help these read and write learners? You can actually invite them to do their own research online or read books themselves, because they do tend to enjoy the learning process on their own. They like to take a little bit more time, and that's okay. So make sure you allot a little more time for those reading and writing learners to go ahead and go through the learning process. And also invite these learners to take notes, because sometimes, I don't know if y'all have ever been in a room, I definitely had, where an instructor is trying to get a point across and nobody else is writing. And so I didn't feel comfortable writing myself. So make sure, as an instructor or a leader, invite those people to take notes, because sometimes people feel really uncomfortable when no one else is writing, and it's okay to write, because this is how they learn best. So let them do their own research and make sure to encourage reading and writing.
Okay, and I think we have some technical difficulties here. Just give us 1 second. Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Yep. Okay, you can go to the next slide.
All right, let's see.
I'm gonna do it twice.
I think our next slide is our real life example, maybe, of how we would put together a bike. Woohoo! So if you allow these learners to take notes on the instructions on how to assemble the bike, this will allow these learners to find more success in actually completing a task. So even if you let these learners read through the instructions, if they need a little more time to jot notes out to the side, it's really common to see books of people who like to read and write in order to learn. If you look through their books, they'll have notes in the margins, they'll have highlighted sections. That's completely normal. So type some more examples in the chat box of how you could teach learners who learn best by reading and writing. Yes. Take notes and make flashcards. Absolutely. Draw their own version of the project. Offer sources to collect information by reading and taking notes. These are great. Write out facts to memorize. Absolutely. PowerPoint presentations, they are good for reading and writing, people. Let them take notes. That's awesome. Give them websites to look up. Harper, that's a great one. So like I said, reading and writing learners, they like to look up their own information. So even if you give it to them, they might want to dive into it and look into it a little deeper. So let them do that. Give them a website to look up. Pick up books to read about the subject. These are great, guys. Handouts. Yes, handouts are so good for reading and writing. All right, Emily, I'll let you take it back over.
Alrighty. So our next learner is a kinesthetic learner. So it's kind of a big word, but basically what that means is, there we go. That kinesthetic learners are hands-on learners. They like to learn through experiencing or doing things. So whether that be acting out events or using your hands to touch or handle something. I guess you could kind of relate that to livestock judging, where you actually physically go in on a steer, or a goat and actually feel, the top and down the sides of the animal. That's, kind of goes along with the kinesthetic learning. So how to help a kinesthetic learner? So get those kind of learners moving. Ask your peers or your students to act out different scenarios. One thing that kinesthetic learners might do is they might want to pace back and forth in order to help memorize something. Let's see, another thing, engaging activities, learning games, moving around the room. All good examples on how to help kinesthetic learners. So here's our real life example. So our building a bike. So engage learners by taking certain parts of a bike and showing the learners how to put them together. Then have the learners put the bike together by themselves. So actually physically showing them in their hands how to put something together and letting your learner do it by themselves. So now again, let's list some examples in the chat box of some different ways of kinesthetic learning. Thomas, that's a great idea, letting somebody build a model. Doing experiments, that's a good one. Move around while studying. Playing some different learning games, that's a great idea, Catherine. Question ball you throw around. 3D kits. Let them help you do the thing, absolutely. Show the person first and then let them do it, for sure. Pacing. Those are all super great ideas on kinesthetic learning. So Kaylin, I'll give it back to you. Oh, actually, what type of learner or learning style do you like best? Like, how do you like to learn? Whether it be, auditory, visual, kinesthetic, what type of learning style do you like the best? Read and write, visual, absolutely. And to be honest with you, I'm probably a mix of all of them. I do, depending on what I'm trying to learn, depends on what my learning style is. So yeah, a mix of hands-on and visual, absolutely. And if you don't know what your learning style is or how you like to learn best, you can actually take a test on what's called a VARK test, so visual, auditory, read and write, and kinesthetic. So you can go to vark-learn.com and you can actually take a test to find out which learning style you are. So Thank you so much for participating, everybody. All right.
All right, guys, let's talk about some different teaching styles. There's going to be 5 that we talk about here, and that kind of alters based on which learning experience that you can look it up, but there's 5 main ones. So the first one that we are going to talk about is the authority style. I'll refer to this as authoritative. It just is a little bit easier for me to say instead of 3 different words. So an authoritative teacher is kind of when you picture a college setting, it's mostly what you have. It's lecture style learning. It's a big group, one person standing in front, and it's really easy to cater to large groups, but there's not a lot of student participation or learner participation, so it doesn't cater to all those different learning styles that we just learned about. So this might work for reading and writing learners, and this might work for auditory learners, but we're missing a big group or 2 big groups of learners in this setting. So it's definitely what you see in college most times, and it's definitely what is the most common. But like I said, it doesn't include much student participation, so you don't get the most from the learners.
All right, so the next is the demonstrator. So the demonstrator maintains authority in the classroom, but doesn't just verbally lecture, unlike the previous style that we just talked about. So a demonstrator combines lecturing with alternative teaching forms, such as demonstrations, class activities, video presentations. So it kind of, the demonstrator kind of caters to more styles of learning than the authoritative style does.
Okay, and this is the delegator. So this delegator or instructor, they give a little more power to the students or the learners, and they still remain as the instructor from a position of authority, but they're allowing for more group discussion, and they're allowing for a little more hands-on time where they're not standing up in front of the room being authoritative. So, for example, if an instructor assigns like tasks to students, they're allowed to break into groups. They're allowed to discuss the possible scenarios, and they come up with a solution together and present that solution back to the instructor. So the instructor almost sits in like a learning capacity in order to allow those students to take over. And you will find this in like lab. You're fine, Emily. You will find this in like lab settings. A lot of times if you're in chemistry and you're doing a science project, the instructor might give you a little hands-on activity and then allow you to do it and then present it to them. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. So the next style is the facilitator. So this is an activity-based teacher who encourages self-learning. The facilitator would prefer students ask questions rather than just give or have the answer to give to them. So this allows for development of problem-solving skills.
Okay, and our last one we're going to talk about today is a hybrid teacher. And so a hybrid teacher or instructor or leader works best to accommodate multiple styles of learners that we just talked about, but it's not the easiest to do in large settings. As you can imagine, there's a lot of different ways, and like we just talked about, there's a variety of ways that you can reach out to learners, but in a big setting, it's hard to make sure that you cover all of those bases. So this is kind of better for these smaller groups, or kind of what we do with 4-H sometimes. So the teachers tend to utilize like multiple teaching styles, allows for a combination of the multiple styles of learning, and their personal experiences and personalities tend to show through their teaching styles.
Okay, so now we are going to quiz you about what you know about learning and teaching styles. So we are actually going to be playing Kahoot. So if you would go to kahoot.it or .it, here in a second, we'll have a game pin to show you up on the screen. Whenever you go to type in your name on the game, be sure to type your full first name and the first letter of your last name so we know who our winners are, because our top 2 winners will receive some gift cards. So go ahead, take a few seconds to go to kahoot.it, and then here in just a second we'll give you a game pin to log into our game. Hopefully this works for us.
Emily, I wonder if we give Meredith back control, if that will allow it to open.
Okay.
What's the game pin?
We're gonna pull it up in just a second.
Hey, Emily.
Yes.
I have it up, but it wants me to play.
Okay, let me see.
Emily, yeah, can you share your screen with the presentation?
Yes, let me log into it really quickly.
Okay.
Sorry about this, guys. Just give us a few more seconds. And we'll get the game pin up so we can play the game.
In the meantime, while Emily's trying to get the pin up, if everybody will go to kahoot.it and wait for the game pin to be loaded. That's KAHOOT.IT.
Okay. Okay, can everybody see the game pin now?
And somebody asked, what if you have the app? If you go on the app, I think it has a button for entering a game pin.
Is my screen shared? Okay, perfect. We're getting some people in here now.
And just in case y'all can't see it, the pin is 916159.
I put it in the text chat for you. All right. A lot of y'all are getting in.
We have a lot of players going.
You're just going to put your first name and your last initial. Once we get everybody in, we are going to play.
All right, just a few more seconds, let a few more hop on, and then we'll get started with the game. So for those of you who may not have played Kahoot before, what's going to happen is on our screen, it's going to show a question, and then it's going to have 4 answers. And so on your side, it's going to show like a square and a triangle and a circle. I can't remember what the fourth one is, but it'll have the answer associated with that color and the shape. And so if you think you know if it's that answer, you'll click on that shape or color. Hopefully that makes sense. I think it'll make more. Okay, a diamond. Thank you, Jack. It'll make more sense as we go along. So good luck to everybody. All right, Kaylin, are we ready? Do we want to go ahead and get started?
Absolutely.
All right, so here we go. All right, so maintains authority in the classroom, but doesn't just verbally lecture. That's the demonstrator. So great job. 32 of you got it correctly. Great job, everybody. All right, so we're going to go on to the next question now. So Cotton, you are in first place, and Sky is in second place so far. All right.
This is not. I can't see the answers or the question.
All right, so this group learns best when subject matter is reinforced by sound. It is auditory learners. So 63 of you got that one correctly. Great job. Let's see. Sarah Kate, you're in first place, and Bailey E, you are in second place right now. We'll go to the next question. All right, so teacher may appear to act in more of an observer role to promote peer discussion and collaboration. so that is the delegator. So 21 of you got that one correct. Great job. All right, so Aubrey T, you're in first place, and Thomas R, you are in second place right now. All right, so these learners prefer to learn through written words. It is the read and write learners. So 64 of you got that correctly. Great job. Let's see who's in the lead now. Thomas R, you took the lead, and Aubrey T in second place. All right, so the teaching styles as a lecture type, one-way discussion is the authority style or authoritative. So 52 of you got that correctly. Great job. Let's see who's in the lead now. All right, so Aubrey T, you're in first place currently, and Reagan M, you're in second place. All right, so tactile learners who learn through experiencing or doing things, it is a kinesthetic learner. So 64 of you got that correct. Let's see who's in the lead. Aubrey T and Reagan M, y'all are maintaining y'all's lead right now. All right, so teachers adopt an integrated teaching style, tailor their teaching to different individuals. Those are the hybrid teachers. So 59 of you got that correctly. Aubrey T and Reagan M, y'all are staying in the lead. Let's see if y'all can keep it. All right. These learners prefer the use of maps, graphic organizers, and images to understand information. It is visual learners, and 80 of you got that correct this time. That's awesome. All right, let's see who's in the lead. Uh-oh, Annabelle B is in the lead, and Aubrey T is in second. Last question, everybody. Right. Activity-based teacher who encourages self-learning is the facilitator. And 45 of you got that correctly. And let's see. Let's see who. All right. Third place went to Allison R. Second place went to Cooper M. And first place goes to. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you guys so much for playing.
Hello.
All right.
Bella, y'all have prize packs coming your way. All right, so we're gonna get back at it, y'all, and we are now gonna talk about team building. So Candace and Paige, are y'all ready?
Yes.
Perfect. Candace, do you wanna take control?
I requested it.
There you go.
Perfect. Okay. So, good morning, everybody. My name is Candace Moeller. I'm the County Extension Agent in Refugio County. And this morning, Paige Melton, she's the 4-H agent in Victoria County. She's going to be helping me talk about team building. So when we talk about team building, you may have heard it as team bonding or something else, but essentially it all boils down to the same thing, is figuring out teamwork and how to work as a team. Okay, so what is team building? Team building is creating a positive relationship with the 4-H officers in your club in a fun and interactive way. Basically, staying connected and communicating well. Just like any other sport or activity we're in, the best way we can be successful is working as a team and having an open line of communication. That way we can throw ideas around, ask for opinions on things, and then know that we're able to give the best possible things to our club or to our chapter. Okay, so like we talked about, why is team building important? Officer teams are the leadership of our 4-H club. So as an officer team, it's up to you to bring accurate information to the club, help make those important decisions for your club, and help the club meetings run effectively. As an officer team, you're setting the example for all 4-H members in your club. So you're looked up to as the leadership team for your club or for your county. So it's very important that you participate in team building exercises and y'all really work together to try to form a unified group and work well together. So I'll let Miss Paige take over and talk about how we team build. With everything going on right now, we're going to talk about how we do it virtually.
All righty. So yes, just like Miss Candace said, you know, we are in a historic time where we are trying to all work together to stay connected virtually. And it's definitely been a challenge, but there's some ways that are simple, easy, that we have already been doing. And then maybe this will just help you think of some ideas that you can do. We're still real uncertain or not certain of what we're going to do when we start meeting. All of our first meetings coming up in August or September. So these are ways to stay connected. You can create a group chat. There's all kinds of apps. So what are some apps that y'all use to text? Because not everybody has iPhones, some have Android. So if y'all could drop some ideas of some apps that y'all use for group chatting, so everybody can kind of see some ideas and start brainstorming. Okay, lots. Remind, perfect. Snapchat, GroupMe, Zoom. Let's see. Oh, Google Meets. I haven't heard of that one. Messenger Kids. Okay, so lots of cool apps to use that are compatible with all different kinds of phones and electronic devices. Another thing you can do to stay connected and to build those relationships with your teammates and your 4-H clubs is what we're using right now, Microsoft Teams or Zoom. I know that y'all probably have been using those with your schools to stay connected. Skype, I see that's another good one, or Messenger and Facebook. So Microsoft Teams, what we're using, and then just your basic email. I know you can set, you can name your group of people. You can say like the Allo 4-H Club and just already pre-save those kids in there and parents and families, and then it'll be easier to send out an email. So those are just some ways that virtually we can stay connected. I'm looking back at the text box. Airtime. Haven't heard of Airtime. FaceTime is good. That's awesome. I don't know how many people you can put on a FaceTime. I haven't tried. I think I've only done 3, so I don't know how many people you could do on that, but that's awesome as well. So thank y'all for participating in our ideas. Okay, next slide.
My computer froze. Hold on. There we go.
Okay, so ways that we can get connected and learn about our team members, our team officers, and really you can do this with your club meetings too, to get to bring your whole entire club together and stay connected. So these are some examples of some team building games. These are quick games, and really you can go as long as you want, but these are 5 to 10 minutes, we kind of say. So the first one that we have used before is this positive round robin. You basically go from person to person, or each officer names one good thing that happened to them this week, that day, that month, and then one good thing that they did for someone else this week. And I like that second half because we say it in our pledge and our motto, we pledge our hands for larger service. So it's good to kind of reflect on things we do for other people. So has anybody played that positive round robin before? Really, it'd be a really good game to play with your officers because of the time that we're in and us trying to find the positive in this major pandemic. So I personally like that game. Okay, so some of y'all have played it. Awesome. Okay, so another real quick game that you could play is Two Truths and a Lie. And this one's probably more popular playing that one. So you go from person to person, and each officer says 3 random facts about themselves, and the other officers have to guess which random fact is a lie. So your creative juices might be flowing in this one. But that can be really fun, and then that's a way that you get to know your fellow officers also and connect with them.
Okay, so like Ms. Page said, those are shorter games that y'all can play for team building exercises, or those, honestly, a lot of these are good icebreaker games for the first part of your meeting, so you can play with the members of your club as well. So the next couple we're going to talk about, they take a little bit more time than the first 2, probably about 15 to 20 minutes, but they can go longer. So it's how well do you know your team? So each person's going to pick 3 questions about them. It can be what your favorite 4-H project is, stuff like that. And then all the officers or members will send in their answers before the first meeting, and then everyone will sit down and they'll try to pair the correct answers to the correct person. So you're really finding out a lot about your team members. So maybe you didn't know that someone's favorite project was STEM. But as you go through these questions and find out who answered them and who likes what the best, you're really learning about those on your team in areas that they enjoy participating in 4-H. Has anybody ever played a game that's similar to that? Y'all can go ahead and answer in the chat box. I saw that Reagan raised her hand. She's played something similar. Okay. Jana's played something similar to that. Good. Okay, so this is a game. The next one's probably a game that everybody has played, is charades. So each person will get a list of 5 random words. Every list is different, so you don't want to have words that repeat each other. And then one person at a time goes, and you're having to act out the word that's on your list. So remember you're doing this virtually, so it'll be pretty entertaining. You have 30 seconds once you start, and then once your 30 seconds is up, you'll go to the next person, but keep track of how many of your words were guessed correctly, because the person that has guessed the most words correctly wins. Okay, so Kaylee, you've never actually played charades, so for those that have played, I think we can all agree that it's pretty entertaining. You get a lot of laughs out of it. So that's also a good game that y'all can play just to bring fun to the meeting or to your officer team and really get to know each other. Okay, so another one we had thought of was bingo. Who loves bingo? I actually made this template in Canva, so if anybody uses Canva, you can go in and they have all different types of bingo cards. So this one is 4-H themed bingo. So you can send out the bingo template, and then this one's really easy to do. You can pick somebody that has cut up pieces of paper with each phrase on it, and just like you would call out letters and numbers for bingo, you'll call out the phrase. So you can choose to do bingo diagonally or 4 corners, or try to black out the whole card, whichever you choose. But obviously the first person to get bingo wins. So has anybody ever played bingo at any of their meetings before? I know a lot of people have probably played like the Jeopardy game or something like that, and that's also another idea. But we just thought this would be a fun way to get everybody involved and have fun while they're doing it. So we will move on to the next one. There we go. Sorry, my computer's slow. Okay, so these are actually virtual team building activities. So there's something that doesn't necessarily have to be done at an event or at a meeting. We can do it outside just to stay in contact with our team members. So the first one is a photo challenge. So once a week, a different person will pick a topic. So say week 1, you pick your favorite pet. Every person will send a picture of their favorite pet. So whether that be your cat, you have a pet lizard, you have a horse, a donkey, whatever it may be, you would just send a picture of your favorite pet. So going back to communication, or ways we communicate virtually, like Ms. Page had talked about, that can be through any of the apps that y'all said y'all have used, like Remind or GroupMe. It can be through group text, through the chat box on Zoom, whatever it may be. And then another idea was to do like a book club or a movie night. So everyone would pick a book, or y'all would decide on a book to read. So there's a lot of books out there that that talk about like leadership, positivity, motivation. Y'all could pick one of those books, and y'all could all read it and meet back and talk about it later. Also, there was an idea of watching a movie and doing the same thing with the movie. So those are both just ways that you can stay in contact and throughout the week whenever you're not at a meeting. So somebody asked, what if you don't have a pet? So even if you don't have a pet, you could Google a picture of maybe what you would love to have as a pet and send that picture. So like Miss Meredith had put up the picture of the alpacas during break time. If you really wanted a pet alpaca, you could screenshot and send it in the group. So now that we've talked about different ways we can team build and different activities we can do, why don't y'all in the text chat put what your favorite team building or team bonding activity is? Photo challenge, the human knot's a good one. Bingo, yeah. Say your favorite activity. Arm wrestling. Pool noodle hockey. Yeah, my
that's a good
kids, we play pool noodle hockey a lot. What's the toilet paper game, Jack? Giant bowling. Line of truth. Good. Kaylee, what's motion potion? Cotton ball and cup game. Horse race with the inflatable horses. Okay, well, good. As y'all can see, there's a lot of good games that we play, a lot of good ideas. So I guess if y'all don't have any questions, and Paige, if you don't have anything else,